Hey, Keeney coming to you with another case study. So we got this 2020 F150 in the garage, and complaint is the driver door ajar message keeps coming up as you're driving the vehicle. No matter what happens, it's always telling you the door's open. Likewise, it'll tell you vehicle's not in park and something else. The bed lighting will not turn off like the cargo lights. The dome lights will be sporadic. They will be on or off at different times. And the driver door keypad will occasionally not turn off. But I think he said he disconnected the battery one night because it was killing the battery when like that keypad would stay on or when the cargo lights would stay on and disconnect the battery, but haven't had an issue with the keypad since. So, right off the bat, a lot of this stuff points to the fact that the truck thinks the driver door is open when in fact it is not open. We did take it for a test drive. We've been in and out of it a couple times. The door latch, the physical latch, seems to be fine. It doesn't feel funny. Your door isn't half ajar or whatever. The latch pulls it, locks it fully closed and whatnot. So we're going to get a tool plugged in, see if we got any code stored, and looks like we might be doing some door latch testing on this girl. But yeah, we'll get her going. Sitting in the driver's seat, we're going to stick this key in the ignition and fire it up. And then right now the door is open. In fact, so we've got driver door ajar, vehicle is on. That's blurry as hell. Great. Let's see if we can focus this. Whatever. Down here in the lower left, we got the door ajar thing going on. I'm going to go ahead and close the door. I mean, it's solid on it, but we still get that door ajar LED on. I don't know if you can actually read that. It says vehicle is on. There it is. It says driver door ajar right there. That's horrible exposure. I'm a knuckle dragger. What can I say? So we're going to go ahead and put it in reverse. So it says transmission not in park. Rear parking aid, transmission not in park, and obviously dinging like crazy. Neutral, it just goes back to driver door ajar, drive, transmission not in park. And then so it'll chime at you, but that shows up the whole time you're driving. So let's check codes on her. So we just fault scanned her. Looks like we only got one code and what looks to be the body controller. That's funny. Our puddle lamp is apparently our only. I don't know if you can actually see this. Wow, this exposure is just fantastic. Anyway, it says it's a DTC for a puddle lamp. So we have no codes for the door latch. I'm going to say this is probably point number 2 that's going to point me in the direction of going right at that latch. It doesn't actually see anything wrong. So we're probably just looking at a switch or something nature thereof. Also, as a fun piece of information, customer said that the vehicle was 200 miles out of the warranty period when this issue showed up. So at this point, we're going to go grab some wiring diagrams and see what those switch wiring looks like in the door and start some testing. I haven't gone in to get wiring yet. I was going to grab some PID data. Didn't think to record it, but just to bring you along. So we got driver door ajar, switch status, says ajar. I go ahead and close the door. Obviously doesn't change at all. And then this thing has the suicide half doors in the rear. So if we do, where is it? Here, this one. Left rear door ajar switch. Probably not even showing it on the camera. So left rear door ajar switch is closed, and I pop the left rear open. It goes ajar, goes closed. So yeah, well, all pointing to a switch electrical circuit issue. I have no idea how well you can actually see any of this. This exposure is always kind of fun, and or angled wonky, but whatever. So we got our body controller up top. We got our left front door jar switch here on the right. And then according to the little table at the bottom, we have option 1 here, which just goes straight to ground. So the fact that this circuit quite literally just goes to a ground and it is just a basic switch means this one's going to have some sort of signal on it, whether it's 5, 12, I got no idea. But it looks like we're just dealing with a pretty straightforward design here. Just a little pull down design of the switch and this thing sees it. So it shows 2 connectors in here. This one here, I know this is not our option, but this one down here, that is the door harness main connector. So my next step, I think I'm going to do is see if I can't peel out it's got that rubber cover on it. I'm going to pull that rubber cover off from the A-pillar and also from the door side and see if I can't maybe just pull a couple wires, like these 2 wires, out of that harness. And we're probably just going to Phil's probe these carefully. And then, because I want to figure out what side of the harness is on. We're probably going to go down here to the switch, but I don't want to rip that door panel off and break all the plastic clips if we're for sure going back up this way. But also realized I didn't highlight the correct one here. So we've got a split that goes to a door jar switch over here and this one. So the one that goes off to the left, according to the tables, for the Phantom Raptor. This is most certainly not a Phantom Raptor. If it is, it's a super sleeper because it looks pretty basic. Anyway, we're dealing with this over here, so I'm going to see if I can't grab a couple wires real quick and go from there. Here is where we are. I could not get into just the door harness, so we got the door panel sitting off, hanging by the, gently, of course, hanging by the latch release cable. So service info in our wiring diagram says I'm looking for wire colors green and violet and black and violet. Those colors certainly don't exist down here. Thanks Ford, like always. So I don't know what this camera is going to do. It's probably going to flip, but there's our little door latch connector. We're just going to stick a back probe from the scope. I don't know if this camera is going to flip again. We're just going to stick a back probe from the scope in each one of those connectors. I think I've got a good ground. There's not a whole lot of unpainted surfaces here, so I found this little clip, and then we can always test. Always make sure your ground is good. So to do that, I cheat. So when we have your OBD2 port with your 16 pin, 2 of those pins are going to be a ground source and one's going to be a B plus source. So I stick a Y cable down here, and then I can always just touch with the scope on like 12 volts here. And if it changes to 12 volts, I'll know that ground is good. If it doesn't, then I know I need to adjust my ground connection there. But this is where we're at. We got tool over there. I'm going to back probe these connectors, and we'll bring you back. Got you set up on the seat, and I don't even know if you're going to be able to see anything. So I got these back probed in the door panel, but both of these are on 0. So it's channel 1, channel 2 is on 0. I may not have a good connection on one of them, so I'm gonna move these back probes around a little bit. We'll see if that jumps around. But I'm wondering all kinds of things. But you can listen to me monologue and watch the boring screen at the same time. So back probed again, nothing. Back probing again, nothing. So now I'm going to go down here to my OBD cable because maybe I screwed up my ground. I'm going to touch pin 16 with channel 1, maybe. Boom. So we got 12 volts there. So we know you got a good ground still. So I wonder if this thing's not getting signal. Our next step is, of course, my back probing skills might be degrading rapidly. And I might need to just pull this connector out and touch the front of it as a next step. I'm back probing channel B again. Yeah, it's not working. So I'll reach in here and unplug this dude. Maybe. Oh, he's stiff. Alright, so it's unplugged. We're just going to touch one of these pins with channel A, our red one. We have no change there. And then I'm going to touch the other pin and no change there. We got the key on. That's pretty interesting. So key is on. I'm wondering if we don't have a good power source coming into this thing. That certainly could cause this failure, I would imagine. So let's switch some things around and let's see if we actually have a ground on one of these pins. Let me grab my second favorite tool. I'm gonna go grab a test light real quick. So I really have no good angle to have this camera hung up and so you can see everything. But here's our connector. We'll turn this light off. We've got, I don't even know if you can see that side over there. I mean, look, they're hanging on top of the door. So the end of this wire, it's going to the same place our scope connection was going to. So, which is actually an ineffective test. Well, that's backwards. Please hold. It helps to remember we're not testing for power right now. We're testing for ground. So we have a known good power and ground here. Let's verify everything. Touch that to there. Touch that to there. We had a known good power and ground here. Please hold. Let's try this again. Now we have known good power and ground here. So we're looking for power. We're gonna clip that dude right there. So or not. Let's let it hang. Hopefully it doesn't touch anything metal. So we're not spreading these. We're just gonna touch. We got nothing. And we got nothing. What am I missing? Why do we not have power or ground to this connector? That is quite strange to me because the wiring info says this goes straight to 300 ground. All right, well, we might be inside the door harness on this thing where it meets the door. Well, let me come up with the next step. Here is our next step. So I've got AES wave pinouts or breakout leads going straight to the pins on the door switch. And we're going to set our own meter up just so it makes beepies. I don't know if you can hear that. Set it up here. But it will make noises when we touch. So let's see, make sure I just pull that pin out. So we do have continuity. It says 5 ohms, 6 ohms. I have no idea what a door latch resistance is supposed to be. If it's just a switch, I kind of think it'd be a little less than that, but whatever. So door latch is fully open. Let's fully close it with a screwdriver. And then let's do that same test. Coming in here. Oh, that's interesting. So continuity again, but we have 12 ohms. That's probably why we're not seeing a whole lot of circuit resistance. So we have a variable resistance switch in here. So let's reopen it with the door handle. Door latch is all the way open. I'll just do so. There it is. So what I'm going to do now is go from full open to like the half mark. So you got like the half ajar when you close your door soft, and then the full close. So we're in the half position now. So we got 6 ohms with the door open, 12 with the door closed, and 15 ohms at the half position. Let me actually do it this way. This would probably be easier, wouldn't it? Ah, just ripped it out. Just ripped it on out of there, of course. Let's see if we can't gently slide her back in. Just got to talk nicely to her. Man, I can't see anything in there. Come on, darling. I know you got it in you. Almost. So close. It's touching it. Maybe. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, I felt her slide in. That is super bright. Let's turn that back off. All right, we're going to turn the beeper off because it gets a little annoying. Pull those out. Now we're just going to pin in directly, gently. Okay. Oh, probably shouldn't be testing the capacitor function. Let's go back to ohms. No sound. I don't know if you can see that. So we're at 6 ohms. That's weird. What changed? Because we're still at the halfway position. All right, I'm going to hit the door latch, release. Now we're still at 6 with it fully released. Hell, that's kind of weird. Let's go back to the half closed position. So half close, we're at 8 ohms. Full close. Am I really that crazy? No, full close is 7 ohms. That's kind of a trippy number. Release it. Now we're at 13 ohms. Why are we incrementing? So full open, half closed. We went from 12 ohms to 11.11 ohms. Full close. There's full close. 11 ohms. Release it. 16 ohms. All right, well, this is fun. And also, there's this is so fun. There's a door counter. I really don't know if you can see this. Let's see if I can do this while you're in frame. If we go to our tablet, can you see any of this? So camera stopped recording. That was always fun. But we have this door jar counter, which doesn't ever change. And I'm wondering if there's some sort of rolling resistance in here that kicks off that counter. I have no idea. But last thing I was trying to say before the phone cut me off is we're probably just going to run a resistance box in here to see if we can get any position changes on our scan tool, and then when nothing happens there because I don't know how it works, we're just gonna sit in front of the computer and read the about section for this door latch assembly and see if it tells us how it works. Okay, follow me on this. I know I'm really bad at doing like a little bit of off testing or off camera testing, but filming I need to get a larger tripod or something. So meter is hooked up to door switch. Resistance box is hooked up to the rest of the car wiring. So this connector here, I will say right off the bat, these pins are pretty loose in there. So no matter what we do, we're probably going to de-pin this and recrimp them down a little bit because they're looser than they should be. So that said, when I go through and flip all my different resistances, we're going to make a small assumption that I didn't go much more than 200 ohms, but so all I do is flip them. There's 1 ohm, there's 10 ohms, 100 ohms, etc. So on and so forth. I don't know what you just last saw. My phone keeps trying to kill the battery. So flipping resistances, and that's just we're trying different ones. Tried it up to 200, and I didn't get any changes. So over here on a tool, we were looking for driver door jar. Never changed. The count never changed. And what I originally, before I just stuck this box in here, what I was going to do is use my multimeter leads because I'm lazy. I was going to use my multimeter leads to go into the door harness side. This is just fantastic one-handed. Just the greatest film work. We're gonna have to move up in the world and order a tripod. Hang on. Welcome back. So I was going to use these meter leads to go from door harness side to the resistance box, but these terminals would not fit in these jacks. So I started to move it back to the way it was. So I plugged my meter leads back in, but I had left the end of the meter lead connected to the car side. My resistance value, if we're reading this correctly, is just under half an ohm. That probably shouldn't be correct because that's, I probably can't say anything. That's the connector right here, right at the switch. So this goes to ground, that goes up to the body controller. No matter what kind of weird stuff we got going on, I cannot imagine that from inside the body controller to ground, which is really what we were testing here because we're taking the place of the switch with the ohm meter, would be less than half an ohm. That doesn't read right. So now half an ohm is like a wire ohm resistance. So now I'm getting curious if we've got a rub through somewhere, like at our, I can't see anything, but our door harness. So I think what we got probably one of two choices next. We can go straight to the body controller and test the pins out of there. I think it's pretty easy to get to on the passenger side of the vehicle, or we can pull some of those panels and try to get, so our door harness goes a little bit high in the A-pillar, so we're like 1.5 feet from the bottom. So I don't know how easy it is going to be to lay under there, but I'm gonna look underneath the dash here. I'm gonna look underneath the dash on the passenger side and figure out which place it's going to be easiest to get to. But we shouldn't be having half an ohm in this whole harness going through the body controller back to ground. That seems too low to me, but that pushes us a little further upstream. So I'm gonna pick one of those two places and we'll come back. Let me catch you up. So far we have dropped our tools out of the door panel. We have dropped our wiring diagram in the water and cut our hand. So aside from that, we've made a little progress. So down up under the dash on the back side of that door harness, on the back side of that door harness there, we do actually have access to it. Had to pull some insulation out. That's stuff up there. So pull the insulation out, got pretty good access to that door harness. Ford actually gave us the right wire colors on the body side of this door. So we're looking at this connector right here, our green and our violet. So when I plug in the green and violet there on the body side of this harness, key is off, I get this signal. I haven't done anything else, so I have no idea what this actually looks like. Let's zoom into her a bit. That's kind of odd. I don't know why we would be pulsing that type of signal with the key off. Who knows? It goes to the body control or whatever. It is interesting. I just noticed this. Our radio lights are lit up. So maybe it is looking for, I don't know. Let's key on, see what happens. Let me find the key first of all, and stick that in here, maybe someday. Okay, now we are keyed on. That's interesting. So our signal shrunk. We were going like 12 to ground. Now we're going, it's really annoying it doesn't. Now we're going 12 to about 7.9, 8 volts. So that's interesting. With that said, we're going to probably hijack this signal with our resistance box and see if I get a change in here. Also, we'll see if, I gotta reconnect that. We'll see if we get a PID data change also. So underneath the dash, we have channel A, and that's channel B. But we have channel A back probed. Gosh dang it, come on. Only the greatest film quality. So we have the body side back pinned with one of these. And then I've got my resistance box. The red lead from the resistance box is going on the back side of what I just showed you. So I can set this camera up again. So underneath the dash, it's plugged in like this. The other side of this resistance box, I haven't touched anything yet. It's on 0 ohms. So in theory, we should not have any changes to this, but I'm going to go ahead and ground this other side of the resistance box. And I'm going to go ahead and ground the other side. Okay, look at that. I just grounded it. Now we're showing closed. Boom! We are on to something. So, recap. Channel A, scope, back probe. Red trace out of the resistance box, back probe, the back probe. And then the ground side of the resistance box is going to where we've been scoping our grounds the whole time. And we showed as closed. I wonder what it would be like if I could film very well. I wonder what our scope looks like. Let's go back to our scope. Boom, grounded. That's interesting. I thought none of these were grounded. I don't know. This must be super sensitive circuits. I don't actually know what my resistance is. So while you're just, staring at that useless screen, I'm going to get my multimeter back out and I'm going to piggyback my resistance box just to see what my current resistance is, because all my switches are off in the resistance box, so they shouldn't be really having much resistance. Well, we're all over the place. Come on. 5 ohms. Why are we on 5 ohms? I don't understand. Let me flip this. Just disaster. Let's try this again. My wires are falling off. So this is no resistance switches are on. We are all over the place. Come on. 5 ohms. I'm going to flip the 1 ohm switch. Now we're at 9. All these are off. I'm going to flip the 4. This must have a base resistance that I totally forgot about. I have no idea what it is. We'll flip the 10 ohm. We're at 50. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how my resistance box works. Apparently, it's been way too long since I've used it. But apparently, with all the switches off, we've got 5 ohms of resistance. 5 ohms of resistance is enough to take that signal to ground, and it is enough to show our switch is closed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove one of these resistance box leads. I'll pull the black one off. Boom. It says driver door ajar. The dinger started going. We've got that. That's a really weird signal still. I have no idea why this looks so weird. I'm pointing at this. I don't know why that trace is so weird. It's just kind of odd. Perhaps, when we fix it, we'll check this again. But I'm wondering if this circuit's just so sensitive. I have no idea. We're not going to speculate live either. But obviously, from the door harness to the body controller, we are golden. We're done with that half. So our issue is in this door. We've got to get the rest of this door harness out somehow. And that looks like it's going to be a fun little adventure. So I'm going to work on that, and then I'll bring y'all back when I actually get somewhere. But that's all we're going to do. We're in the right place. I'm glad we are. I was kind of concerned that we was going to have to rip the the rest of the stuff out to get to the body controller or something, but nope. We chose the right spot in the first place, somewhere in this door, somewhere between this door harness connector at the A-pillar and this door switch is our issue. All right, I'm going to tear it apart. Some of the fun continues. So we did end up getting in there. So we're on both sides of this A-pillar door harness. And like in all good sportsmanship, we want to thank Ford for their helpful scenarios here. So we've got a green and violet on the inside of the A-pillar. On the outside of the A-pillar, we've got a green and gray or something. And then, of course, down here we go to 2 other totally different colors that don't match. So we've even got color changes in the door. But nonetheless, we got channel A, channel B, just like there. So channel A is on the right, channel B is on the left of that A-pillar. I got my test light going to ground, and I'm just going to touch on, the key is off, but so some of this explains too. So even though the key's off, we've got the OBD connector plugged in. seems the body controller will still respond to some of these messages, and it kind of makes sense when you open and close the doors that the body controller may or may not be awake for that, or at least wakes it up. But whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and touch test light to the green side. Boom, you can see both drop, and boom, we can see our door status change to closed. So both of those drop to ground. So we got good connection through this side of the door. I'm going to let go of this with test light. Door goes to Ajar, signal goes all wonky again. We did just wake the radio up, like the door actually opened. So we're going a little bit further inside the door here. So apparently I have a professional talent for chasing my tail a little bit. Inside this door panel, where we pulled off this latch connector, the harness lays right over another, I don't know, like 4-inch harness, and I didn't see the one underneath of it. And guess what? The wire colors are correct. So let's flip this around. So light. This is the one we've been playing with. And there's another harness. So there's that connector. But underneath where that tag goes to is another one. So there's a little door seal thing here that I popped out. And I don't know if we can get up in there. Maybe. Those two wires are the right color. So we're going to redo all of our back probe tests at those wires and see what our results look like. Got those two back probed, at least I think they are. Now let's come in here, just turn this machine on. Oh, this is firing up. I will say though, this will actually make some confirmation testing a little bit easier. Why is everything frozen? A little bit easier on if we need to test, like, so that door latch resistance checks that we were doing before. So here we go. What is happening? Anyway, I was going to say we could do some, comparison testing to the other side on the passenger door, since that'd be a little bit easier. This is kind of weird. I didn't expect to see that. Channel A should be, did I mess my channels up? Well, based on what I can see there, I probed them backwards. I meant for channel A to be coming from the body controller and channel B to be the ground switch. Maybe I got them backwards. I don't know. Whatever. Let's grab my handy dandy little screwdriver here. And then we're going to change this time base so we can see a little better. 20 seconds. Let's do 5. Alright, so we got that. The door latch currently is in the open position. I'm going to close the door latch. And it still says Ajar. Let me set this up. I may have to plug that other connector back in. It might need both of them for some reason. I don't know what the other one goes to though. It's a little bit odd because that's not what the wiring diagram shows. So right now, door latch is completely closed. And I'm going to reconnect. I know we said our pins are a little bit loose, but I'm going to reconnect the other door latch connector that we had disconnected. Maybe. Goodness, she's snug going in. Okay, that's reconnected. Says Ajar. Let's pull the cable. The door's open. But we have no change. Let me recheck my connections. So I did confirm I have these two channels reversed. I back probed them in the wrong direction. But I'm going to do the same test we did earlier at a further up in the harness. So I've got my test lot going to ground, and we're going to touch this test lot on our green trace. That green trace should drop to ground. I don't know if you can actually see the ground. Yeah, down here on the left. And we should get a change in our Ajar position. So test lights on ground. Here we're coming in and touching Boom. And what did it say? Closed. Well, that was an easy diag. We need a new switch, a new door latch. Ah, we pulled the wrong connector. All right, take test light out. Jumps back up. Says Ajar. Test light back on. Oh yeah, all day long, huh? Test light off. Test light touching. Nope, nope. Test light touching. All day. All right. Well, we got our diag, and we need a new door latch switch. So that was easy. I have no idea what that other wire goes to because as we were actuating the door latch, the resistance was changing, and I don't see anything in the wiring diagram that indicates we have two more wires going to this thing. So that's really weird to me. I have no idea what's causing that, but hey, at least now we know what's wrong with it. We can call the customer. We'll get a new one on order. I guess tomorrow. Everybody's probably closed today. Yep, that's it for today. We'll come back whenever we get the customer and probably get a part in. I got to bring it back for one more test that I forgot about, and it does work. So we have this is our voltage reference, whatever, from our weird signal from the body controller, and this is the one that we took to ground with the test light and everything changed. But we did not test if this ground was good, so we just tested this wire. We need to make sure that this second wire is actually going to a good ground. So right now I just have a loop tied in, jumping both of those back and forth. We can see that both are drawn low. We are in the closed position. And then I'm going to, I don't know if you can watch this, but I'm going to disconnect this loop. Maybe gently and wiggling it. So the loop is now disconnected. And then we move back to Ajar. That goes back to our signal. So that proves both of our circuits. Where did we go? So that proves both of our circuits here are good. All the way back to the body controller up top, and then all the way to this ground is good. Our door latch is our issue. Welcome back. We have our new door latch switch assembly with our two different connectors on it. So we're just going to, before we actually shove this whole thing in the door, just do an actual function check on her. So we'll get her plugged in. Haven't plugged this one in yet. And well, we might get it plugged in. And that one's snug. It was snug on the old one too. Alright, so latch right now is in the open position. I got my scope over here. Same setup, split screen. We're just gonna close this latch. I'm gonna close it halfway. No change. Close it all the way. Close it all the way. Close it all the way. There she goes. Boom. We got driver door closed now. Oh, so PID data switched to close, but the scope didn't change, and it's probably because I didn't have my scope leads hooked up. It might help if we do that. I think our green and violet was our actual switch signal from the body controller. I think that's probed in there. So we got ground. Figure out how to open this latch. Maybe. So PID data changed. Nothing changed on scope, so I'm probably not back probed in very well. There we go. All right, now we got a little spike. So door's ajar. Let's close this thing again. And door says closed. I must not have a good scope connection. I don't know what's going on with my scope, but we got the PID data working, which really is what matters here the most. Why don't we have scope change? Let's do my little. I'll just try in a different spot. Maybe. Oh, okay, there she goes. Now we got her signal for our scope. So it weren't back probed very well. Back probed very well. Door says ajar. We got our goofy traces. Go half closed. No change. Actually, we're getting a little bit of noise. I think I'm just pushing on it and go all the way closed. Maybe. All the way closed. Scope drops low. Beautiful. Let's see if I can capture this all in one frame. So door's closed. Door's open. Door's closed. Beautiful. Let's get this camera flipped. There's our changes on the scope. We're showing closed on the door. Boom, there's our fix. Oh, and look, I did not pay attention to the top one there, the driver door jar counter. So that one I think was stuck at like 255 or something before. Let me flip this a couple more times and see. We'll see what kind of changes we get on that. So I assume the second wire is some sort of counter. Oh, no, or it's the door lock. Oh, it's funny. I think that's the door lock actuator. Silly me. All right, so flip it to open. We get door ajar. Flip it to closed. Door closed. The counter didn't change. We're still at 215 on the counter. That's a little weird. So open it again. Door ajar. Close it again. Door closed. Actually, I'm going to take a screenshot of this because it's nice and clean. Boom. Well, I'm not getting door ajar counter changing, so that's kind of weird. I don't know why the ajar counter doesn't change. Whatever. At this point, we're going to close these by hand. I'm going to leave this hanging just like that. I'm going to close this one back here, or wherever this door latch switch is, which is up here at the top. So we've got, I got the passenger door open too. I'm going to close the passenger door, and then once we get all the doors actually closed, we're going to fire it up here and then make sure our door ajar message has gone away. I got all kinds of stuff in the way on the dash. We'll leave that over there. Try and make some room on the seat. Apparently just threw everything everywhere. Flip this. Okay. So door right now is in the closed position. So let's give this thing a quick fire up, wherever the key is. Probably need that to get it started. All right. So key in, key on, fired up. Rear left door ajar. Apparently I didn't close that all the way. Hood ajar. Well, looks like the latch was up here. It says it's closed. Oh wait, there's two latches on this door. Aha! So looking over here, there's a striker on the bottom and a striker on the top. So let's flip that one closed. You can get dizzy on the camera while I spin back and forth. So we will close that latch. Spin back around. Now our only message is hood ajar. That's pretty cool. I don't know why that light is still on. Maybe we have to have the hood closed for the door light to go out. That's super blurry. Well, let's go close the hood latch. So we'll give this a close, maybe. Some more stiff. Can't see nothing. Okay. Hood latch is closed. It's just super stiff to actually get it closed. Oh! That was my knee on the door. There it is. Okay. So now our door ajar light went out. Let's see if we can actually get this thing in there where you can see stuff. So no error messages. I can't see what you see. So we'll go reverse. Let's Just hit OK or something, see if that goes away. Neutral. Drive. Booyah. That's a fix. I hope everything's shaking. So, no messages. Everything's working like it's supposed to. I'm happy with that. And then somehow, I have no idea what the algorithm for this is. Now it says 235. But whatever. That's a fix. We still got to put the door back together. So I'm going to swap that, button it all up, and then that should be all we got to do. We'll take it for a test drive, and I'll bring you back once I finish that up. We got a beautiful glare on the screen, but door's back together. What she looks like. Door's closed. We're running. Got no messages. Also, Ajar status. Boom. Boom. Open it there. So that's one of the messages we kept seeing. There she is. We're going to go for a test drive and monitor it while we let it sit for a while. So one of the complaints was, flip this. So one of his complaints was when it sits for a while, the door pad would light up or not sometimes and kill the battery. Cargo lights would light up and kill the battery. So we stuck the cargo lights back in the socket. I'm going to just park this so I can monitor it in the shop so we can see if the door lights, like the keypad, ever turns on or off on the lighting. And yeah, we'll monitor it. He's not going to come pick it up for a few days, so we'll just park it where I can check it from time to time. But yeah, hope this video is helpful for somebody. That's a fix, and that's all I got for you. So we will catch y'all in the next one.